But I wanted to talk about the short films and the storytelling of that aspect. And I want to jump a little forward, a few projects, and talk about Under the Underground. This was a album concept from my cousin G13. His first album was called Under the Underground. And I like the name, and I love the concept of how he came up with it. Was that, rappers under the underground are kind of still struggling to find their audience. Underground rappers have an audience and trying to break to the mainstream. And then mainstream artists are already, mainstream and doing what they got to do as far as music's being concerned. And I took the story and I asked my cousin if I can write a story to that concept, and he granted me permission, let me go ahead and do that. And I wrote the story in a way where the underground rapper was trying to bring hip hop back into the light of the people because hip hop was now deemed illegal. And the interesting thing is, my guy Michael R. Santana, he had been editing quite a few of our videos, the graffiti video, t-shirt videos. He had been editing quite a few things for us, and I reached out to him and let him know that I was interested in possibly doing a short film and see if he wanted to be interested in doing it with us. And he was down. He definitely brings a vision and a cinematic look that I knew I couldn't accomplish, and I learned quite a bit as far as film production and all the post-production and putting things together. But with this film, I didn't want it to just look like we were sitting in front of like the house or things like that. So I ended up renting spots in segments and payments. We ended up renting the Ontario Airport hotel conference room for the interrogation scene. I actually rented the Fat Ink Studios, their warehouse, for the concert scene. And the reason for doing it was because I really wanted to put together a quality project. Like, I wanted the story to be told. I wanted to look right. I wanted to sound right. I didn't want it to look like it was a rushed project. And it went off pretty well. And so after we had finished the film, like I said, Michael sent it to me in kind of a coded, password accessible access, and I watched the film like in no lie about 60 times in a row. I thought it was great just to see a vision, something, like a story put together, and the visuals come together and come alive. And it was in such a cinematic format that I just couldn't stop watching it over and over and over again. I mean, we actually wanted to make sure we had real actors in the film. I wrote me and my cousin's parts as little as possible so we didn't mess up the film. But it was a fun aspect to watch, pre-production, production, post-production, final product. And we put it behind the firewall of Amazon. I wanted to track the views and like the sales. We put in a few film festivals. Didn't get looked at any film festivals. But it was definitely a process that I want to continue with the business. It was something that I thought was beneficial. I hadn't had that type of energy or excitement since putting out my first and second album, or every time we put out an album, I get really excited. But I hadn't that level of excitement until that film. And even when we did Knuckles a short while later, that level of excitement is still there as far as like even putting out an album or putting out a record. I was able to track some of the business, where it was being looked at via Amazon and their analytics. We did drop it to YouTube. It didn't do quite as well as YouTube. Only because I think I had a really good push going into the completion of it, and by the time we dropped to YouTube, it was about a year later. But it does get a good view, good watching, and it did build kind of a leg of the business that I definitely will never not stop doing. Like, I always want to produce some sort of short film and was able to monitor and see if there's a lane or even a market for that kind of content. And I think the creativity, of course, content is very competitive right now. I think the creativity and the stories that we can tell through the short films for the business will definitely be beneficial. And it'll definitely help elevate our way of delivering hip hop to the people.